the Russians have been installing additional anti-drone armor on nearly all tanks and APCs involved in assaults. These types of armor lack any standardization and are sometimes quite bizarre. For instance, this time we can see them using ordinary rubber as a shield. We can only wonder what the Russians were hoping for when they tried to protect their equipment with flammable materials. As proof that this was a poor idea, we can clearly see how the drone effortlessly burns through this defense using thermite. The rubber quickly burns away, even aiding the fire in spreading across the hull. Of all the materials that could be used to reinforce armor, this is probably one of the worst choices. As soon as the first units of equipment were destroyed, the surviving Russian soldiers panicked and immediately fled to the nearest forest, abandoning the other armored vehicle to its fate. The Ukrainians were waiting for just that, as abandoned equipment can be destroyed with airdropped explosives without wasting kamikaze drones. The drone pilot carefully places the explosives and flies to a safe distance, watching as the armor spectacularly shatters into pieces. After the first explosion, the drone makes another drop to ensure the complete destruction of the vehicle. While this APC is burning, the other Russians from the convoy quickly realized that they were not welcome and attempted to escape further. But the FPV drone is much faster than the tank, and there was no need to chase this tank. The Russians abandoned it right in the most visible spot. This allowed the pilot to fly straight into the tank and inflict maximum damage. At first, the damage seemed minor, but over time, the flames engulfed the entire hull and gradually began to reach the fuel tank and ammunition. And within just a few minutes, we can see the result. The turret of this tank flew so high that the operator had to raise the camera to capture it. And in slow motion, we can clearly see this spectacular moment. Despite the fact that these APCs withstood more hits than the previous ones, in the end, the Russians had no choice but to abandon them, leaving them to burn on the battlefield. Due to the FPV drone managing to fly directly inside the APC, the fire instantly engulfed the entire vehicle, despite the additional armor the Russians had installed across its body. And the crew of this armored vehicle even kindly opened the doors, inviting the drone operator straight inside. The Russians equipped their APCs and tanks with additional protection against drones, hoping it would help them quickly break through Ukrainian defenses. They were so confident in their strength that some soldiers relaxed sat on the hulls of APCs completely unprotected. But their audacity and overconfidence were swiftly punished. The Ukrainians waited for the right moment and quickly launched a massive strike from multiple directions. Each operator locked onto a specific target in the column and precisely attacked the enemy. Two Russian APCs attempt to maneuver to evade the attack, but unsuccessfully. A precise drone strike halts the first armored vehicle in the group, forcing the Russian soldiers to flee quickly into the tree line. The crew of the second APC is also preparing to flee, and that's the right decision. This vehicle too has already been targeted by another drone operator, destroying Russian vehicles one by one. Some were only immobilized, but others were taken out with a single strike. Sometimes it's hard to believe that just one kamikaze drone can cause such a colossal explosion. Over the past year, these two APCs also attempted to break through the Ukrainian defensive lines, but a well-aimed javelin shot quickly changed their plans. The first armored vehicle was destroyed with a single shot, while the second held on for a short time despite already catching fire. However, Ukrainian defenders didn't wait for it to burn out on its own and finished it off with another precise shot. One drone hits a tank, but it continues to move. Another drone takes down its companion. This tank is destroyed, but what should the other drone do, which was also headed for the same target? To avoid accidentally hitting the already destroyed enemy, the operator changes course at the last moment, flying straight through the flames and switching to another tank. The pilot sees that the second tank has also been hit. Therefore, he heads straight for the target and finishes it off for good. Only 2 units of Russian equipment survived the massive assault, but their lives were not destined to last long. Already damaged and engulfed in flames, they still tried to escape their fate, but unsuccessfully. The crew of this armored vehicle stopped to assess the battlefield, but their timing was unfortunate. This APC couldn't be breached by the drone, but instead, it managed to hit the least protected spot near the turret. This strike wasn't enough to destroy the vehicle, but it was certainly enough to disable its machine gun and completely neutralize this enemy.